thing over here. 3, 2, 1.
The following radio program you're about to listen to is provided to you, the listener, by Inked Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkedgeekstudios.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of All Geeked Up. I didn't know what I was going to say there. I am off. It is Friday, which I suppose doesn't matter. I don't know. I'm out of it, man. It's been a long week. I am joined, as always, by Brandon. Brandon, how are you?
Hey, good. Maybe I should have. I don't care. I don't know. Is it Friday? Who gives a shit?
It is, apparently.
Is it all Geeked Up episode 2?
It is the new All Geeked Up episode 2.
It's All Geeked Up Redux episode 2. Do we still swear on this podcast?
Fuck, I don't know.
Oh, fuck, dude.
God damn it. Okay, so can we talk about that for a second?
You know what really grinds my gear?
So first off, hi to Twitch. Thank you guys for coming on a different night. So we came back last week on Saturday and we're going to be live Saturday nights, 9 o'clock. And then I get a text from Brandon saying, oh yeah, fuck, can we do it Friday? But you know what? We rescheduled the Friday. We did not cancel. We are here. So fuck it. But anyway, no. So we mentioned in the pre-show Free Beer and Hot Wings. That is a radio show / podcast that you and I are both fans of. We both listen to.
Correct.
Now, we are both VIPs, which means we both get segment 17.
Also correct.
Can you tell me why any of them will say fuck, but when they're going to say goddamn, they'll say GD?
GD, yeah. In segment 17, you mean?
Yeah.
I think it's because they're so ingrained to not swearing on the air that it just trickles over to segment 17. Why they say fuck versus GD, I don't know.
I just wasn't sure if maybe like one of them was really religious or if they...
No, the only one that was super religious was Zane, and he's gone, so...
Right. I mean, maybe it's an old habit from that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when that show first took over in this market for Howard Stern, their faux swearing on the air drove me insane. Like, they would say F that, or instead of saying dick, they would say D. All things they have to do.
Right.
But at that point, just like use a different word. Don't even fucking bother, because it drove me insane. But then I get used to it. And like they say on the show, yeah, you'll hate us at first and then you'll love us. And like a weed, they grew in my fucking brain. And now I pay them every month to listen at my
Oh,
leisure.
no, I've fallen behind on so many podcasts because they do 4.5 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I always have such a buildup in my phone, because by the time I finish an episode, that day's show has downloaded and I just keep going.
Right.
So, yeah,
I've gotten...
all content is taken up with that.
I've gotten better at a lot of our podcaster friends and a lot of podcasters that are friends that listen to our shows. I've gotten better now. Because I unsubbed to just about everything, because there was a while there where I just wasn't listening to any shows. And I've resubbed to the ones that I want to listen to. Podcast of Terror, Sometimes Geek by Derek, things like that. And I've gotten to the point now where when there are episodes that they put out that are new, I will listen to them. And then because I will never be caught up with Free Beer and Hot Wings.
Right.
So they will always be my quote unquote background noise when none of my other podcasts have episodes.
Right.
And I think that's a good spot for that.
Yeah.
No, I do agree that swearing can lower your audience reach, but they're a radio show, right? But they have segment 17, which is for VIPs, and that's where they swear.
They're not on the air and not limited by the FCC.
Right. So on that segment they swear, and it always was perplexing to me that they will say fuck or shit or whatever, but when they go to say goddamn, they'll say GD. Right. And as somebody who rolls his eyes whenever anyone says that that's a swear, It always kind of like irked me a little bit that they wouldn't say it. Like, I don't even know why you can't say "God damn it" on the radio. Like, that's fucking stupid.
It's funny the things that you can say and then you can't say, like balls and pussy. Like it's all about context. But yeah, some of the stuff they say and then some of the stuff they don't say, it's irksome. We should be on the radio. Let's just say fuck.
Fuck it.
Fuck
But anyway,
we'll podcast.
that being said, how was your week, dude? Did you do anything other than work? I saw that you had some of the things in Just Cause.
Yeah, I did play a little Just Cause on Wednesday. Dig it. It's nothing but an improvement over the last game. The last game was fine, but this game, geez, I'm at the beginning and it's already so much better.
Yeah.
Left trigger aiming and all of that action, like every other game, it not having that, yeah, I'm glad that's there. The zoom in with the left trigger, you know?
Right.
But no, it's smoother, plays really well.
Have you gotten to the point yet where you ride the tornado?
No.
It's so fun.
I'm like right after the point where he tries to take that base out by himself and then he gets fucked up.
Okay.
So like right there, right when he gets like his grappler's broken and shit.
Right.
Just beyond that.
When I got there, I was worried that it was going to be that typical game mechanic.
Me too. It almost took me out of it. I'm so glad I got all that shit back.
Yeah, you basically get it all back right away.
Yeah.
Because Assassin's Creed Odyssey does that. Like the very first point in the game which you get control, and you played that too, right? So that very first point you get control, you are
Leonidas.
Thank you. I was gonna say Laurinaitis, but that's John Laurinaitis from wrestling.
I got a bad case of John Laurinaitis over here.
But yeah, so you get all the abilities, and then because you're not the assassin, you're Leonidas, and then you get them obviously stripped away from you. So yeah, I'm glad that it wasn't like, I get my grappling hook after the 10th mission, and then I can get rocket boosters like 8 missions later, because I spent a good amount of time rocket boosting cows into the air.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly fun.
I don't have, what is the last thing that I unlocked? It was the weird like fucking balloon lifter thing.
Oh, that's super cool too. You end up getting,
I really like that you can attach more than one grapple. So if you don't have enough strength with just one, like I'm pulling down towers, but I need like 4 or 5 to do it. I'm glad that you can stack those. That's cool.
Right. You can do up to 10, and I can only assume that you can increase that further.
I'm sure.
And you end up getting mods where you can change how high they go. You can change how quickly they ascend to that max height.
Yeah.
You can change the gas that's in the balloon, so you can make it so it's helium, or make it so it's what was in the Hindenburg.
Hydrogen?
Yes. Explosive hydrogen. So it's really fun when you get like 10 of them, and you know those giant fucking orbs that are hard to blow up. Mm-hmm. And you attach all 10 to that, so it floats up in the air, and then you shoot one and all 10 blow up, and then blow up the big orb. Sorry for my voice. I'm not sick, but I'm just fucking congested.
You're a little phlegmy.
I am. Oh, the humanity. Oh, the huge manatee.
So there's a podcast I listened to that did a whole episode on the Hindenburg, and they played that entire broadcast when that happened, that guy, just to listen to him break down as it happened, because it happened before his eyes. And, you know, that's a huge tragedy, but for him to break out the poetry of, oh, the humanity, just what a thing to say. Who would have ever thought to say that? Who says something like that? What does it even mean? Oh, the humanity. Oh, the burning bodies. Do you know that not everybody died on that? Like, yeah, like a lot of people died, but like depending on where you were on the ship, some people made it to safety.
Well, I mean, not everybody died on the Titanic.
That's true. A lot of people didn't die on the Titanic. But I mean, the Hindenburg was like...
If only they would have vaped instead. Yes, vaping would have saved lives.
The Hindenburg was 500 feet in the air and fucking blew up and crashed and then fucking blew up again.
Wouldn't that's one of those things.
Like, that ship had smoking rooms and stuff. Dude, you're fucking crossing the ocean with hydrogen. What are you doing?
That's one of those things where if you can separate the loss of life. Like if you could reenact that to scale without any living person on the ship, just to be able to see it in the air and just to see the explosive hydrogen engulfing like the blimp.
Yeah.
Like that would have been really cool. That'd be really cool to see.
Crazy. There's some other accident. I was trying to remember where it was. It was a factory in the turn of the century, and it had been bought by another company, and I'll give you a generalization of it. So it was a textile factory, and it was built for a certain spec. It could hold so much equipment and so many people, like any building, right? Another company bought it, doubled the amount of equipment in the building, and the amount of workers. Well, the fucking floors collapsed and everybody fell into the basement. And surprisingly, a lot of people survived, and they made a rescue effort, pulled out the people that had died, pulled out a lot of the injured. The survivors were helping and everything. They had a whole encampment set up around the building, right? Well, then somebody knocked over a lantern and caught the whole fucking thing on fire. So people that had survived still ended up fucking dying.
That is excellent.
That is the worst. Leave it to humanity. Oh, the humanity. I get it now. Now it all makes sense. All right. Full circle.
I still like the huge humanity.
Oh, the huge manatee.
So
What is
anyway, huh?
What is a manatee? Is that the
It's a
the
sea
thing in
creature.
Florida? Is that the big like teddy bear looking thing?
Isn't it a sea creature?
It's a sea creature, but is it like the Floridian like sea bear looking thing? Or am I thinking?
I don't know.
I'm from Maine. I don't know.
I mean, maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure. But anyway, so other than that, because I don't know why Just Cause took oh yeah, the balloons. That was a tangent and a fucking half. They are mantis-like.
Mantis-like. Manatees?
Like praying mantis? I'm so confused. Beatmaster, don't confuse me.
Yeah. I didn't even look at the chat. I have that. That's above. They are mantis-like.
It's up there. It's over there.
I'm so confused.
So confused. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm loving Just Cause, man. It's a lot of fun. It's mindless. You go on. It's not a binge game, right? It's not one of those games where you dump 30, 40 hours into it in a week. But it is definitely fun to get on there and let off some steam.
How long is that game? Do you know?
I mean, I don't know. It's just an open world. Get in there and fuck shit up. I don't remember the last time I fully finished a Just Cause. I just get in and have a good time. Dude, I spent at least an hour on stream attaching the projection rockets onto various things and watching them go.
How far into the game before you unlock that?
You should be really, really close. You go in and you get the balloon, and then you get... Oh, no, you know what you do? You go and... So if you're on a mission when you get back in, the next mission that you want to go to is the mission where you go talk to the woman that's making the movie. She'll end up calling you. And you go do a mission for her, and you use those in one of the stunts that she does, and then it permanently attaches it to your grappling hook. Because unlike Just Cause 3, where you had to go up and manually plant them, you can attach them just like with the balloons.
Oh, perfect.
Everything is attached by the grappling hook now. Yeah, which is awesome because you can balloon something up into the air and then from the ground attach a rocket booster to it and then just make it like propel in the air.
I'm sure I'm close. I mean, the last thing I did in that game was that dude who looks up to you. Oh, maybe I can be an agent like you one day. And you have the car chase and you protect the car.
Sargento or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So what had happened was I got all the way to the end of that mission, but before I finished the mission, I got too far away from him and it failed me on the mission. Then I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing it again right now. And that's the last time I played.
Have you had the chance to dive into Red Dead Redemption online yet?
Nope. that is part of my weekend plans. Maybe later
Nice.
tonight, although I assume by the time we get done with this, I'll pass out, but we'll see.
Yeah, my after podcast plans are either the new Path of Exile content that came out this afternoon, because the big content update for that just dropped today.
Why can't Diablo have content like Path of Exile has content?
Because Path of Exile has microtransactions that makes them a shitload of money.
I see. And there would be
So-
outrage if Diablo did that.
Well, we discussed that last week with Diablo Immortal, because that's what they're trying to do, is add microtransactions so they can get Diablo a steady income.
Thus, there is outrage.
Right. Either that or Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, because I played that at work today on the Switch, and it's
How is that?
as much as I suck at fighting games and therefore suck at Smash Brothers,
Right.
it is ridiculously fun.
I should like to play that with you, but I don't want to buy a Switch.
No, we can do local co-op.
Everybody I know that has a Switch, that was their eventual motivation for getting a Switch.
So there's a lot of reasons to get a Switch now, right? Like everyone that knows me knows that I think Breath of the Wild is ridiculously overrated. But
but I'll give you this. For the Switch, considering all the things that you buy and then don't necessarily use, you have used the Switch. Given the state of your job, the nature of your job, that's really led to you using the Switch. But
it has. And there are
consistently, and it seems like it's worth it if it can get you to use it repeatedly. Dildos and things. I don't know. I need to make you feel like I'm in the room.
I'm gonna play Enter Sandman. But no, there's a lot of experiences that are on the Switch that I like. I mean, Smash Brothers is there, and Diablo 3, which is a 1-to-1 counterpart to the PC version of it. It's got everything the PC version has, up to and including the Necromancer. So everything that's on the PC version is on the Switch version. And then, Mario Odyssey is a lot of fun. And the beauty of the Switch, right, is because we've had the Nintendo 2DS, 3DS, DS, whatever the fuck you want to call it, for years now, right? And I've had my fair share of those. But handheld games will always be handheld games. And for me, they'll always leave something to be desired. Whereas with the Switch, and 50% of it being a handheld platform, it still has full-fledged games. I've got legit Diablo. I've got legit Mario. You've got legit Zelda. Now you've got legit Smash Brothers. And it's a console that you hook into your TV, but at any time I can be sitting there playing it. I can turn around and play it on the 4K right now. Or if I don't want to do that, I can just pick it up and go lay in bed and play it.
Right.
And that's awesome. I would say the only drawback to the Switch, and the only reason that I would say they need a Switch version 2, which is rumored for next year, is that when you start to play some of the more graphically intense games like Breath of the Wild or Mario or Diablo, and I assume Smash Brothers, I haven't had much time with it, the battery does drain rather quickly.
Oh, undoubtedly.
So, yeah, we're talking to like a 2 to 4 hour.
How often do you think they're using it as a console where it's in the cradle and you're on the TV?
I think, are you talking me or in general?
Just in general.
I would say it would depend. So we touched a little bit last week on the Nintendo fanboy, right? So if you are a one console gamer, if you don't have an Xbox and or a PlayStation to go with your Switch, and that is your console, I would say it's at least 50-50 on TV to handheld use. Perhaps even leaning a little bit more TV, because typically speaking, unless you're somebody who lives in a big city and you take public transportation to work, you're typically going to have more time to sit and stare at a screen at home than you are on the go somewhere. Yes, right. You're going to have flights where you'll take your Switch, or you're going to have bus trips or taxi rides or Uber rides or whatever. But I would say if you aren't in a situation like mine, where my present job at work affords me plenty of time to play on my Switch, you're probably going to have more time in front of the TV. Now, if you are a multi-platform gamer like I am, and like you are, where you have your PC and now you're back to Xbox again. I have the PC and then all 3 consoles. I am less likely, unless it's a brand new game, right? Like, so when Diablo dropped, even though I had the PC in front of me, I pulled up Diablo on the Switch to try it. And now I'm not going to do that now. I'll play it on the go. Right. Smash Brothers, because Smash Brothers looks awesome when it's on the television, and it looks awesome on the handheld too. Smash Brothers, I played a little bit on the TV before I got ready to set up for the podcast. But if it's not a new game that I'm going to play because it's new or stream, and obviously if I'm streaming it, I have to play it on the TV.
Right.
It's reserved for handheld use, because I'm going to pull up one of the many 4K HDR games that I have for Xbox, or one of the many 4K HDR games that I have for PlayStation. It's not because, and that's something that Nintendo kind of does to themselves. And I get it. You could not put the power of an Xbox One X in a handheld. Not right now.
Not yet. No.
So in order for them to do that, they have to stay a generation behind. And that has kind of been Nintendo's thing, right? Like, I think as successful as the N64 was, I think it taught Nintendo something. And what it taught them was that you don't have to be the best graphically to compete in the market. Because
huge point of contention with games. A lot of your games, the graphics are better than the actual content at this point. So,
right.
I'm fine. If you're going to take a step backward and graphics would give me a game that's more fun, that's totally fine with me.
And I think that's kind of what Nintendo... I mean, I always knock Nintendo a little bit because, again, yeah, they are behind graphically. But no, because like I said, with the N64, they were 64-bit before anybody else was.
Right. But now they're just intentionally behind because they keep trying to be innovative with their consoles.
Well, they also... Yeah, and they try and make it so it's...
They haven't put a standard console out since GameCube, if you can define that as a
console. No, because even GameCube was behind. Like, because by the time...
I don't even mean like... current with other consoles. I just mean regular, plug it into your TV and go. I mean, after GameCube you got Wii, right? So
yeah, so you motion controls
deal.
Yeah, and then with the Wii,
I like that has that right on in line on the mic.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
That must be nice.
Especially when you're coughing every 5 minutes. Yeah, and then with the Wii U, they went with like the tablet controller. So like the Wii U was, the godfather to the Switch. And the Wii U was, and if anything, the Wii U took, and some of the fanboys might hate me for this, but the Wii U took a little bit of inspiration from the Dreamcast. And the reason I say that was because if you go back to the Dreamcast was the first console that had a controller with a screen on it. Now, granted, we're talking a long time ago.
I wanted one of those so badly. I'm glad that I get one in retrospect, obviously.
Yeah.
Did you have?
Of course I did.
It seems to me that was in your... So when you lived down the street, and you remember the summer Raul was there and he would sit in the room upstairs and play Diablo 2? Does that ring a bell for you? I don't know whose room that was, if that was your mother's room or what, but
I don't remember.
I thought the Dreamcast was in there at one point, but I could be wrong.
I'm not sure. Hey Siri, when did the Sega Dreamcast come out?
Dreamcast was published November 27th, 1998.
All right, 1998.
Oh, I know my shit.
So 98, I was 14. So yeah, that was after my parents had split. So, but anyway, regardless. But the Dreamcast had the VMU, the video memory unit.
Yeah.
And there were some games that took advantage of that. And Sega, like Sega typically, a little ahead of its time and too far ahead of its time to be successful with it. Because a lot of the things that Sega came up with were just too expensive for the time. Like you know, and we've talked about it in the past on other podcasts, Sega had Sega Channel. And they worked with cable companies, and there was a unit that you would put in your Sega Genesis.
I remember.
And you could stream Sega games. And we're talking mid-90s.
It's so funny, too, because all of that stuff, even the fucking Nokia N-Gage, the gaming TV that had the fold-out speakers, if you remember that, all of that stuff was there, but it was so niche and kitschy at the time. Literally 20 years later, now we have all that stuff, and it's just right.
Can I pause for a second? Mr. Corey, first off, let me welcome you to the Twitch chat. Second off, I believe I tagged you in a fucking Facebook post that told you we were recording tonight.
Only one time. Only once.
It'll be back to Saturdays after tonight. Brandon has to be a good son tomorrow.
I have to put beer in my beard tomorrow night.
But back to Nintendo really quick. So Nintendo, they're always trying the new thing, right? But they've nailed it with the Switch. As somebody who is, I don't like gimmicky shit. So, you know, with the Wii U and the Wii, it was just all gimmick. Even the GameCube was kind of gimmicky because they're like, ooh, everyone's doing DVDs. Let's give you these stupid little fucking micro discs. Like, thanks, Nintendo.
Plus the way too small controller, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, right? And there are people...
With that shut you right up, didn't it?
What?
Tell Nate he's right. He'll stop talking. Fucking, you're right with the gimmick, though. I think the Switch walks the perfect line of being a gimmick, but also it's a tablet, so it's perfect. Everybody can jump in, and it's not really that much different than, say, an iPad, except it has controllers that actually function.
Right. And Beatmaster in chat says Nintendo's main issue was support of third parties. And right there, you're right. My argument with Nintendo, so I understand that if a company has a mission statement, it serves that company well. You can adapt that mission statement as the years go on, but it serves the company well for it to have a focus that stays within the ballpark, right? Nintendo started off as the Famicom, and, you know, it was the Nintendo Entertainment System in the States, but it was the Famicom, right? And you had Mario and Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt. The Duck Hunt characters are in Smash Brothers, and they're cool.
You can be the dog.
I don't know yet, but I have fought in the Duck Hunt world. So hold on, let me pause that for a second. The Duck Hunt world. So all the worlds are super rendered and look awesome, right? The Duck Hunt world fills your screen like you're playing Duck Hunt. So when you go to knock them off the screen, because that's how you win in Smash Brothers, by knocking your opponent off the map.
Yeah.
It's just black. Like the screen just ends. You knock them into blackness. It's pretty cool. But anyway, so Nintendo...
Duck Hunt in a second. I have a question.
Okay. So Nintendo has always had a mission statement of, we are a family entertainment console. Mario, Duck Hunt, track and field with the pad thing, which I had, and like all these, the Power Glove. I had a Power Glove. Yeah. All that shit, right? It was fun. It was gimmicky. But most importantly, where I'm going with this, it was for families and or for kids. This was in the early 80s.
Given those families, it seems like white Italian families with guns.
Probably. So fast forward 30 years, 40 years, we've grown up, right? So yes, you still have kids that are getting and playing Nintendo. My daughter loves playing Mario and loves Mario Kart. But we've grown up, and that was one thing Nintendo has always failed to do, was none of Nintendo's first party properties grew up with their fans. They still remain games designed and geared towards young adult, early teens, kids. going back to what Beat said about the support of third parties, now we have Nintendo being Nintendo and being childish or childlike, but we also have these third-party companies coming in and giving you games for adults. We have Diablo, we have Darkest Dungeon, we have Dead Cells. All these games that are designed with an M rating with adults in mind for adults to enjoy gaming content. Nintendo for the longest time didn't have mature titles on their platforms. And when Mortal Kombat went to the Super Nintendo way back in the day, even the color of the blood had to be changed because they did not want adult themed games on their platform. So they didn't want visible blood on their platform. They've broken that down. They realize now that a very, very large demographic of gamers are adults. And they've taken advantage of the indie market and of third-party developers to bring in games designed for adults to attract both of those audiences. And I think that's where they're succeeding. Because yes, there are certainly games more geared towards youth on Xbox and PlayStation, but they are certainly limited compared to that of a Nintendo game. And the ones that are there are gimmicky. Like there's Super Lucky's Tale on Xbox One, which essentially plays kind of like a Crash Bandicoot Jak and Daxter. But it just doesn't grab onto you like those typically do. Compared to that, to the mentality of Apple not allowing adult content porn on their app store. That's just to keep it clean. I mean, you know, Brandon and I are both big supporters of the adult industry, and I don't think I need to see porn on my app store. Like, my daughter has an iPad who's 7. My son who's 4 has an iPad. You know, she's got an iPhone. Like, I mean, I get there's a way to go in and do content restrictions, but I know how to do that because I'm tech savvy and also have Apple devices. But, you know, if you get your 10 or 11-year-old an iPhone for a birthday or something and you aren't a tech savvy adult, so you don't know how to implement that, you know, you don't need that. Like, I agree that doesn't need to be on the App Store. I don't think that's necessary. And besides, it's their private platform. We, you know, they have every right to do what they want with it. So I am all in favor of Apple, having like, you know, manning the wall that decides what goes on their app store.
Apple is taking the black against porn. That's Thrones reference.
What's that?
Nothing.
Yeah, I haven't. I think I watched like the first couple seasons of Game of Thrones.
I know. That's okay.
Anyway, it is okay. So
I wanted to ask about Duck Hunt. Let's take a step back.
Oh yeah, that's right, Duck Hunt.
Why the death of the light gun? A lot of my favorite games as a kid involved the light gun. I get it with the world being the way it is.
No. It's dude. It's not even that. Look at PUBG and Fortnite and Call of Duty. It's the person
killed the light gun. That's what you're telling me.
It's the TVs.
Exactly.
It's the tech that goes into the TVs. Yeah. See, Beatmaster, it's a technical issue. Back when light guns.
Enlighten me because I don't know.
So I Beatmaster right away said it's a technical issue. So
I figured that, but I don't really.
If you know the technicality of it, by all means, speak up. But it is my understanding that with light guns, they worked with CRT TVs.
Mm-hmm.
They do not work with LED and OLED TVs.
You think they would have found a workaround for that?
Yeah, VR.
Yeah, that's true. And VR is great.
VR is
the Oculus lately?
You mean the Vive?
Is that what you have? The Vive?
Oculus.
You can tell we haven't hung out in person in a while.
Yeah. So, Friendly Spatula, who is a friend of the show and
A friendly spatula of the show.
He's a friendly spatula of the show and part of the WNS stream team. He picked up an Oculus.
Die
And I
Hard
have
was exactly what I had on my mind. Loved
yeah,
it.
see, yeah, no,
with the red Judge Dredd lookalike gun that you could turn turbo on. It was so fun. I had the same one, man. It was great.
yeah, Corey's probably right. They'd probably need some camera system. Like, I bet you could use a light gun with the Kinect if the Kinect wasn't a pile of shit. But anyway, so like I was watching him on his mixer stream, playing some what's that flight Elite Dangerous, and that looked pretty cool in VR.
Does it? That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I was playing some
so badly, but I don't want to spend the money to have the whole setup.
Right, I was playing Audio Shield. I'm a big fan of Space Pirate Trainer. So now there's one game that is really blowing up in VR right now, and it's called Beat Saber.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, so you hold each of your VR controllers, whether you have a Rift or a Vive, and you're essentially holding lightsabers, and they're red and blue, and it's like Guitar Hero but with lightsabers. And you can, if you have the PC version as opposed to the PSVR version, you can load custom songs into it. And it looks incredibly fun. I haven't gotten it yet. I am in the process of looking to relocate certain things so I can perhaps have half of the basement behind me for a full room scale VR.
Yep. So sooner or later I'll be over there and we'll be making videos about that while we move shit.
Right. You can use the Move thing on PlayStation 4. Yeah, so you can play it out of VR as well. But it's designed for VR. You can play it with PSVR as well, like I mentioned. But yeah, no, VR, I'm excited for. Did we talk about this a little bit last week? I'm excited for where VR is going. I'm more excited for where you know what we talked about? We talked about how I want AR and I want AR glasses.
Yeah, that's
right?
all I've wanted the whole time.
And then in between this week and last week, now this happened back in August, but I was not aware. In between this week and last week, I've learned that Apple bought a glasses and lens company.
Really?
And the rumor has it, we are going to get Apple's version of Google Glass within the next year or two.
I really hope the frames aren't universally white.
I don't mind if they're white. I don't mind if they're black, as long as they're Weezer frames. They have to be hipster glasses.
Yeah, they will be.
They absolutely have to be hipster glasses. But the company they bought made frames and lenses as well as prescription lenses, which means whether you have a prescription or not, it will come out just after their TV. No, they already scrapped the TV idea, and the car is on indefinite suspension.
The car has crashed.
Yeah, no, man. I saw some mock-ups of what they wanted that car to look like, and that car was sexy. And not that I would have the money or the credit to afford one, but man, if you go and Google like Apple car, the images that they mocked up for what it was supposed to look like, man, it looks amazing. Could you imagine having a fully Apple integrated car?
I already do.
Well, I know, but I mean beyond that, because we still have to plug our phones in. Like, imagine sitting in your car, getting in your car, and then
my 06 truck has wireless charging, but my car does not when it's an 18.
Well, no, that's a feature you could have had put in it.
I could have, but why? Why would I have wireless charging down there when I have CarPlay that isn't wireless?
Good thing Nate won't get an Apple car, because then Brandon would have to buy one too. Well, technically, he got the Civic before I did.
Let's just take it easy there. I bought that car first, but all right.
Well, even though I was the first one that mentioned getting a Civic, which put the idea in your head.
As to who buys what and does what first. Hey, so quick aside, have you ever been to Mast Landing Brewery?
Notice how quickly he changed that subject.
No, it's just because
have I been where? Knots Landing?
Mast Landing?
Mast Landing.
All the way up.
All the way up, no.
But you want to go back to that subject about
No,
does
no,
what first?
no, it's fine. But yeah, but no, so the AR glasses, right? So no, man, I mean, we don't have to spend too much time on it because it's still in the future, but I would love AR glasses. Essentially, what I would like to get to is an AR lens, like having the micro technology advanced enough to where you can put a contact lens in your eye and have an AR lens. And again, at that point, and we did talk about this. You've got security issues, you've got privacy issues. Like there are a lot of things to consider.
Right. And realistically, how far out are we from actually having something like that?
I can't imagine we're that far.
No. How could we be?
No, with everything else that we have.
I mean, all you need is what we already have, a little microchip under the skin connected to something in your eye. You're good to go.
Yeah, but then all the old people are going to cry about privacy.
Yeah, they'll be dead. Power it with your bioelectricity, you'll be fine.
Bionic eyes.
Going full Stevie Wonder. I'm just waiting for bionic eyes. Yeah. $6 million Corey, right? No.
Man, we have been off the rails tonight. That's what happens when we don't do it on the right night.
Well, we only got 15 minutes left. It's almost over.
I'm not complaining. It's just been everywhere. Trying to think of what else. Oh, dude, fuck. The trailer dropped today. How can we not talk about that? Have you watched it?
Yeah, no. I've been at work.
It reveals nothing. It reveals nothing, and I don't care.
Is that good?
No, I'm saying I don't care.
Oh, you literally don't care.
I literally don't care. I watched it, and I got none of the frills that people were creaming over on social media. There's, what was the quote? Like every chapter has a goodbye, or like something like that. I don't know. It's whatever. They're clearly
about Avengers Endgame, not Welcome to Morrowind, right?
Yes. What is Welcome to Morrowind?
Oh, it's this really good-looking Steve Carell movie.
Oh no, we're talking Avengers, whatever the subtitle is. Yeah.
Endgame, yeah.
So no,
Infinity War and then Endgame. Just literally, you could have just stuck with what you had in the beginning and done Infinity War Part 2. It's fine. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll see it when it comes out on digital. I don't know, or where it's the last hurrah for a lot of the characters.
It's a combination of like a decade in the making, but I don't know. I disagreed with you forever on superhero movie fatigue, and I don't know if I'm fatigued, but I'm not at the theater for every release. I skipped Venom. I skipped Ant-Man and the Wasp. Have there been any other ones?
Not notable.
Captain Marvel and
it's
Aquaman.
Not out yet.
Probably, I know. I'll probably not go to the theater for that. I don't know.
The next one. So I want to see the PG-13 version of Deadpool.
Once Upon a Deadpool?
Yeah. Which I don't.
Yeah.
Is that getting a theatrical release?
Yeah, it is. It's a recut of Deadpool 2 with extra footage and shit. And yes,
right. Yeah, because Fred Savage is reading him the story. It's basically Princess Bride Deadpool.
Right. Oh, Spider-Verse. I do want to see that, Corey.
Is that live action or animated?
Animated.
Is that getting a theatrical release?
Give me some Spider-Gwen and some Silk. I really want to see that shit happen. And Spider-Pig. Is that what he's called? Spider-Ham?
Spider-Pig?
Yeah, it's a pig, but he's Spider-Man.
Do we need that?
Nah, but you should read the comic.
All right. So yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'll see Deadpool, but I don't know if I'll go to the theater. I think the next comic book movie that I can tell you, Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham. Please tell me you're fucking kidding.
Oh, look it up. It's great.
Jesus. Peter Porker. That's I mean, if you get rid of the Spectacular Spider-Ham, Peter Porker sounds like the porn parody of Peter Parker.
Right.
But anyway,
yeah.
the next the next superhero
Superior
movie,
Spider-Man. Love that one too.
the next superhero movie that I can tell you at this moment that I'm going to go see in the theater without question is James Gunn's Suicide Squad 2.
Suicide Squad done right, maybe.
It's Gunn. So basically, whereas Suicide
An
Squad,
amazing movie just to stick it to Marvel at this point.
well, right, where Suicide Squad tried to be Guardians of the Galaxy, now they have the guy that made Guardians of the Galaxy so great,
Right.
making Suicide Squad.
Funny how the world works like that.
I don't give a fuck about Aquaman. I don't care about Momoa. Momoa cannot act. He is just a sexy man that sells money with muscles. He has no acting ability. Khal Drogo did not talk, or hardly talked. No, because Justice League was a pile of shit, and that guy who I will refrain from talking negative about because I understand that he had a family tragedy, and I don't want to be like that. But he had already fucking ruined the movie before Whedon had any chance of saving it. That movie sucked, as does most other DC movies. They need to get Nolan back. But if they could somehow convince Nolan to be like the guy for DC, it would save DC. Like if they could pretend the last couple of years of movies didn't happen and just continue off of The Dark Knight Rises.
It would at least set them apart from what Marvel's doing and give them something original and different for a superhero genre.
Right.
What they're doing now is just, I don't know what they're doing now. We don't need to get into it. We've covered it for like a few years at this point, but
I just don't care. Like I care less about them than I do Marvel. Like Marvel, at least they're like, they're doing certain things that are making me care. Like, I'm probably going to go see the next Spider-Man movie because Tom Holland is an awesome Spider-Man. And of the Spider-Man or Spider-Men that we've had, you had Tobey Maguire, who was a great Peter Parker, but a bad Spider-Man. You have Andrew Garfield, who was a great Spider-Man, but a horrible Peter Parker. And you have Tom Holland, who's the only one that has nailed both. I'm not even talking about the Joker movie because fuck Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. That
which
is
Joker movie?
the fucking one.
Now.
Yeah, the Joaquin Phoenix one. It looks stupid. The Shazam movie / the other Shazam movie, I might see just because The Rock is in them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what will get me to see that. I don't care about the Joker movie. I think that looks stupid. I think his makeup looks horrible. I am all for having a Joker origin story, even though it's like this is older Joker, but I'm all for a Joker origin story. I would love to see more of the man behind the paint. I know a lot of people don't want that because losing that mystery, you take away some of the mystique. Yeah, The Rock is playing Black Adam.
Yeah. You
So
can
that
get
would-
all the Joker origins you want, but I'm not down with it.
I don't know. It's for me, it's kind of like the same thing where they've broken the kayfabe with wrestling, and you see the character, but you also see the actor portraying that character.
It's what it is. It's just that structure of movie for me. I'm good with origin stories. They're all the same. Be it hero or villain, you follow a certain path.
Well, I don't think this isn't an origin story. I don't think. I think this is like a post-retirement story.
No.
'Cause he's-
But what
he's-
you're saying for the Joker, if you want to see
right.
what got there, I don't need that structure. I've seen it a million times with every superhero ever.
Right. Yeah, no, we have. And really, really quick to go back to the chat for a minute, further up somewhere. Nolan's taste gave us that Man of Steel, Drek. Man of Steel is probably the only DC movie I've enjoyed of the DC movies.
That was great for a drinking game. How many times is Superman gonna scream and or fly through a building?
Right. Like I enjoyed that Zack Snyder definitely ruined it, and the fact that he was trying to make Superman like it was supposed to be like an analogy for Jesus, like that kind of ruined it a little bit for me. Kind of like the same reason why like I can't enjoy Narnia, because they're all Bible allegories.
Right.
Um,
Would you know that if someone didn't tell you though?
Sure you would. It's not obvious that the lion. I mean,
All I remember from that is like the beaver or the
that
otter,
would be all you'd remember is the beaver.
basically. So I lost my train of thought on that. So
It's because you were thinking about beaver.
Superman, right? Doesn't he stand for truth, justice, and the American way? Isn't he supposed to be the lighthearted, impervious, no Deus Ex Machina at all to get him to be crumpled?
Yeah, but that's what makes him boring.
And
That's why on paper he's the most boring
Snyder
superhero.
turns him into like a darker hero when you already have
He
Batman.
makes him realistic, which is the same reason why I liked The
So you know
Dark
what
Knight.
Superman I want to see is the Clark Kent in the beginning of the movie when he's like in the Northwest logging and shit, and he has a beard. That's the Superman movie I want to see.
You
Put
want to
that
see
S on
Maynard
his chest,
Superman?
Yeah, put it on his chest, but in flannel. A flannel S. That's what I want. Goddamn black and red checked cape. Can you see it? I see it. It looks good.
No, I can't.
Yes, you can. You're
So
like, you're right
so you
down
want-
the road from me. You're in
so
the
you
same.
you want Paul Bunyan as Superman?
Yes. I want Bun L. That's what I want.
There you
No,
go.
just Bunyan.
Bun L.
Hyphen
Bunyan.
Bun-Yun. That's what I want.
Q Monty Python. But no, like I enjoyed Man of Steel. That's probably the one I enjoyed the most. Like I liked that Superman killed Zod. Like holy shit, Superman's not boring anymore. Because even like I don't know. And really quick, getting Joker origin story in the Gotham show. Yeah, I mean he's not Joker, he's Jerome. Because they can't call.
Okay, so in terms of that, that totally negates everything I just said. Like I'm totally into that in the world of Gotham. That's a different thing for me. I'm accepting of
I'm
whatever.
so sad that that's ending.
Yeah, because it's amazing now. I
It
was not into
is.
it for the first and second season, I think. Whenever Fish Mooney was around, I wasn't.
Yeah, no, she's a horrible actress. I mean, we all know there's plenty of nepotism in Hollywood. She only gets roles because she's married to Will Smith. She cannot act for shit.
Yeah, okay. Man, she's been riding that train for a long time. Wasn't she in Fresh Prince? That's how that all started, right?
I guess. I don't know. Superheroes need to kill people. Because otherwise, the reason superheroes don't kill people is so you can have replay value, so they can have them come back in more issues. Like that's what comic books don't kill people for. Because I mean, which now we've got so many fucking multiverses, but I mean, if you've got a serial killer and Joker is essentially a psychopathic serial killer, and he's murdered hundreds of thousands of people, and you have him there with the ability to murder him and never have to deal with this again, you're going to murder him.
It only makes sense.
Speaking of superheroes murdering people, and that is where we will end this conversation.
With murder.
We saw Deadpool 2.
We did?
Did you watch the super wicked awesome version of Deadpool 2? I
bought the unrated version, so yes.
Okay, so at the end when he goes and kills baby Hitler?
Yep. Yeah, I saw that.
So you're telling me that Deadpool should not have killed baby Hitler? Is that what you're telling me? No, I'm not down for wanton police brutality. You cannot mix superheroes with reality. It's the same. Who? Oh. Corey.
I love how it's wanton.
Whatever, wanton, whatever. I don't care. I'm tired, and I was so
the pronunciation of it.
I looked. I don't care. No, because I hear that with gaming, right? Like Red Dead, for example, there's a notoriety system in single player mode. are saying that superheroes aren't realistic unless they kill the villains. I'm saying, right, but don't make me think it's late. Yeah, exactly. They aren't realistic. They aren't realistic in their realm of reality, right? I like dark stories. I like dark games. Really quick, and I'll use this as a tangent. Far Cry 5 was wonderfully reviewed by a lot of companies because I don't care what angry, angsty gamers have to say. But it was well reviewed by a lot of companies. The main complaint about Far Cry 5, and warning, spoilers ahead, are that there's no happy ending. You either choose to walk away, and it's implied that you kill all your friends, or you set off nukes that kill everybody. Those are your choices, regardless of what you do. And people complained that there was no happy ending. So you can't compare like our realm of reality to superhero reality because superheroes don't exist in our reality. But in a superhero's reality, I mean, look at, I mean, if you want to, the closest thing to it is, you know, look at Bin Laden, who is the closest thing we've had recently to a supervillain. What'd they do? They fucking killed him in his cave. Because that's what you do to a supervillain. You don't go, I'm going to lock you up so you can get away so we can have another round of issues. It just doesn't work. So your version of reality you want superheroes in, not necessarily the realm of reality that all superheroes exist in. Superheroes don't exist in reality. Brandon, save me here.
I can't save any of this. But what I can say is join us next week live on Saturday.
Are you sure?
Me? Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, cool. So that'll do it for episode 2 of All Geeked Up. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being in Twitch. Thank you for being you. Brandon, do you have anything to share?
No.
All right. Really quick, I started a new podcast. It's my first attempt at a one mic show. If you are listening live, you got to hear episode 1 in the pre-show before we went live with this. It's called Sin's Game Talk. SYN''S Game Talk, one word. It has been submitted to iTunes and everything else. So it will, you know, if it's not on the podcast apps yet, no, we don't say podcatchers anymore, right? That's not a thing. Is that like 2016? So but regardless of what podcast app you use, it'll be there eventually. And also our feed for this show is up now, which it wasn't as of last week because I've rebuilt the feed. So All Geeked Up, if you are watching live and want to subscribe, or if you're listening on the website, if you want to subscribe to the podcast version, All Geeked Up and Sin's Game Talk are both now live and active. This week so Sin's Game Talk is similar. We talk about, although I talk about just video games. It's short, it's sweet. It's not done live. As I mentioned, it is one mic. So it's like a 20-minute show. That's what I'm going to keep it at. Talks about my streaming a little bit, but basically covering video game news for the week with a headline. You know, it's my take on a brief video game news podcast. So if you want to check it out, let me know what you think. Other than that, follow my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/xcynicx. That's XSYNEKX. And that is it. AintGeekStudios.com for everything else. If you want to contact the show, you can tweet us at allgeekeduppod on Twitter, or email the show at allgeekeduppodcast@gmail.com. And if you have a comment on anything that we said on tonight's episode, chime in, let us know, and we will tell you why you're wrong next week.
Yeah. Great.
It will be. Brandon, thanks again for coming to hang out. Enjoy your mom's Christmas party tomorrow night.
Why are you thanking me to come and hang out? Like I'm not always fucking here anyway.
Well, we haven't been since May.
It's like I'm doing you a favor. Brandon, thanks for cupping my balls while we do this show. Like we haven't done this every fucking week, more or less, for like fucking 3
Other than the last 7 months.
Yeah, well, you know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
He wants me to do a Brazzers review.
I saw
show.
that. I was going to talk about it post-show. For Brandon, for myself, and for the rest of Inked Geek Studios, thank you all very much for listening. And we will talk to you guys next week.
You've been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows,